All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into more cellar beer, and I am so happy to finally rip into this one because there's a few that I found in the back of the closet. Didn't know they were there. Well, it is from Oddside Ales, guys. It's the Rye Hipster Brunch, and I had to check it. The label's kind of ripped off a little bit on the side, but I think it's a 2020 version of this beer. So I remember reviewing it that year, and I did really enjoy it. This was really good when it was fresh. But again, disclaimer, some of my beers have not aged gracefully the last 4 or 5 years. I think beyond 4 years is when I start to see the degradation, sometimes pretty apparent in the beers that I've been reviewing from the cellar. I'm hoping that this one's still tasty. I really am. So Rye Hipster Brunch Stout. Rye Stout brewed with maple syrup, aged in rye whiskey barrels with coffee and bacon added. Ridiculous. Oddside does it, guys. They do it very well. So again, 12.7. This is not a small beer, but I've been drinking Bourbon County and different, expedition stouts and all kinds of aged stouts, and this is just a walk in the park, to be honest with you, except for these crazy ingredients. So nice pop. Let's get it into a little schnifter glass and see, guys. I hope this held up. I hope. Rye Hipster Brunch. So pouring a lot more brown rather than darkness, not so oily. As it collects, it does, of course, turn a little bit darker. But that's got a nice little brown tinge to it, especially with a little bit of a khaki head sitting on top. A little bit of slick head sitting there. Let's get a nose, guys. You can see it. Let's hope it aged well. Let's see. Let's hope. Let's see. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Weirdness. Smoky. It smells like smoky ham and coffee. It is technically the bacon. I do remember this beer. I remember getting that kind of sweet and salty, savory flavor, and I honestly think, guys, it's like a salty bacon. It smells very fresh still in there off the nose. Still nice notes of coffee, too. Like, it's nice, freshly ground espresso notes. A little bit of, like, breakfast blend, French roast coffee kind of thing. A little Starbucks added in there. It smells really nice. A little touch of vanilla and milk chocolate. This smells really good. Wow. I think so. When I say vanilla, that's probably maple syrup. That smells really nice, colliding into like old notes of coffee. And again, colliding into that salty, savory kind of bacon thing. There's the maple syrup. It took me a second. I read it and then I kind of forgot. It's not vanilla. It's maple syrup sweetness, and it smells like a fresh, loaded maple syrup, almost like a CBS, but more maple syrup than even like a CBS would have from Founders. It smells so nice. I can't believe it smells this good 4 years later. I mean, that is fan-frickin-tastic. That's one of the best noses I've gotten in a lot of years on an aged stout. Maple syrup, coffee. Savory saltiness. So good. So good. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't pick out the bacon per se, but I would say there's some sort of like salty savory thing in there. It's got that just breakfast. It smells like breakfast, man. Just bacon, eggs, maple syrup drizzled on the top. You got the coffee right on the side. It smells like that. Let's get into this one, guys. Rye Hipster Brunch. By the way, no rye barrel showing itself on the nose. Let's get into it. Cheers. This beer's still frickin' delicious. Are you frickin' kidding me? That is so sweet on the front end. Maple syrup for days. Rye, peppery spice, just subtly on the back end. Not that much heat at 12.7. That nice little collision of sweet, salty, and then woody kind of peppery barrel is fantastic. Such a roller coaster of awesomeness on your palate. Again, maple syrup for days. A little bit of that, a little bit of woodiness from a barrel, but I get that little pepper kiss on the back end, just a little tilde, just really adding to the coffee, adding to that savory kind of thing. Again, maybe you don't say, oh, it's bacon, there's bacon thrown in here, but this does feel like breakfast on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning. Smells delicious, guys. Pancakes and eggs and bacon and coffee. It smells delicious. It tastes delicious. It's this aged so gracefully. still really good, man. The coffee's not as pronounced, but it's still coffee. It's still loaded with maple syrup. This is still really good. I mean, and there's a little bit of like roastiness on the back end, like along with that little peppery spice, but the peppery spice is, I think it's covered up enough and it's faded enough where that maple syrup's kind of covering your palate more, and it's outweighing any kind of rye barrel that would be slightly vicious to the palate. It's not. It's the calmest rye spice. It's very chill. You can tell it's barrel aged, but very subtly. A little bit of that heat, a little bit of decadence. Actually, a little bit thinner maybe compared to like a Bourbon County, but still really nice mouthfeel. Again, oily, slick maple syrup. Awesome flavor. This is nice. I think I still liked it fresh because these notes were more pronounced. There was a little bit more slickness. There was a little bit more freshness from the coffee and that barrel, which I do like. But it's calm. Like there's two ways to look at it. It's calmed down. You can slam this, but this is not a slammer. It's not a slammer. This is Sunday morning. It's easy as Sunday morning. Barrel's still showing. This is a really good beer. This is a really good beer 4 years later. I don't think it's as good as when I liked it fresh, but still fantastic. I think this is one of the better stouts, I mean, really, that you can get in Michigan, at least barrel-aged, rye, barrel, whatever. Just so delicious. So many good ingredients in here, and I don't even know where to put this beer, because I think I rated it really high. I like a little bit more roast, maybe a little bit less sweetness. That's my one critique for sure. Still delicious. I'm going 4 or 5 out of 5, man. This was really tasty. It aged really well. I'm not upset by this. This is a winner, guys. It's been the Oddside Ales Rye Hipster Brunch Stout. Thank you so much for being here. 4 years later, we did it again. Cheers.